Hey Bougie click. Bullying is a pervasive issue that affects many people, but when combined with internalized racism, it can have particularly devastating effects. Internalized racism refers to the acceptance of negative stereotypes and beliefs about one's own racial group, often leading to self-doubt and harmful behaviors. In this video, we'll explore how internalized racism develops, how it influences bullying behaviors, and the impact it has on individuals and communities. Additionally, we'll discuss the experiences of content creators like I Am Just a Girl 2 on TikTok, who are affected by these complex issues. Whether you've experienced this firsthand or want to learn more to support others, this video is for you. So, let's get into it and start this important and uplifting conversation. Bullying and internalized racism in the Black community. Historically, Black individuals have been subjected to pervasive negative stereotypes that unjustly portray them as inherently immoral or deviant. These harmful stereotypes were deliberately propagated during the eras of slavery and Jim Crow to rationalize systemic discrimination and unequal treatment. Media representations have frequently reinforced these stereotypes, often depicting Black people in roles associated with crime, promiscuity, and other negative behaviors. The impact of these stereotypes extends beyond external perceptions. Some Black individuals may internalize these negative portrayals, leading to an association of their identity with immoral behavior. This internalized racism can significantly influence how they view and represent their community. For instance, there are instances where certain Black individuals perceive those who exhibit respectable behavior as less authentically Black or whitewashed. This phenomenon appears to be reflected in the case of I Am Just a Girl on TikTok, where the content creator's behavior and presentation might be scrutinized through the lens of these deeply ingrained stereotypes and internalized biases. The controversy surrounding I Am Just a Girl 2 on TikTok, a deep dive into gender roles and community accountability. Social media platforms like TikTok have become powerful tools for self-expression, community building, and the dissemination of ideas. However, they also serve as battlegrounds for debates on various social issues. One such controversy involves the TikTok creator I Am Just a Girl 2, whose content on femininity, beauty, and relationships has sparked significant discussion. The content and its reception. I Am Just a Girl 2 is known for her videos that emphasize traditional notions of femininity and beauty. She often discusses concepts like feminine energy and masculine energy, offering advice on how women can embrace their femininity to improve their relationships and personal lives. While some viewers find her content empowering and a source of valuable advice, others criticize it for reinforcing outdated gender roles and stereotypes. Gender roles and stereotypes. One of the primary criticisms of I Am Just a Girl 2's content is that it perpetuates traditional gender roles. Critics argue that by promoting the idea that women should focus on being more feminine to attract and maintain relationships, she is reinforcing a binary and restrictive view of gender. This perspective can be seen as limiting, as it suggests that women must conform to certain behaviors and appearances to be valued. Moreover, the concepts of feminine energy and masculine energy have been polarizing. While some people find these ideas helpful for understanding dynamics in relationships, others see them as perpetuating harmful stereotypes. For instance, the notion that women should be nurturing and passive while men should be assertive and dominant can reinforce outdated and unequal power dynamics. Accountability and generational trauma. Another significant aspect of the controversy involves I Am Just a Girl 2's discussions on accountability and generational trauma within the Black community. She often speaks about the importance of personal responsibility and healing from past traumas to build healthier relationships and communities. While these messages resonate with many viewers, they have also sparked debates about the roles and responsibilities of individuals within the community. Critics argue that her focus on personal accountability can sometimes overlook systemic issues that contribute to generational trauma. They contend that while personal growth and responsibility are important, it is equally crucial to address broader social and economic factors that impact the community. This tension between individual and collective responsibility is a central theme in the discussions surrounding her content. The term whitewashed is often used to describe someone who is perceived as adopting behaviors, attitudes, or cultural norms that are traditionally associated with white people, sometimes at the expense of their own cultural identity. In the case of It I Am Just a Girl Too, some critics argue that her content and viewpoints align more closely with mainstream, Western ideals of femininity and beauty, which can be seen as distancing herself from her cultural roots. Support and empowerment. Despite the criticisms, It I Am Just a Girl Too has a substantial following of supporters who appreciate her focus on self-love, personal growth, and the positive aspects of femininity. They find her content empowering and believe that it provides valuable insights for navigating relationships and personal development. For many, her emphasis on embracing femininity is seen as a way to reclaim and celebrate aspects of womanhood that have been undervalued or misunderstood. Reasons for the whitewashed label. Promotion of traditional gender roles. Some viewers feel that her emphasis on traditional femininity and beauty standards aligns more with Western ideals, which can be seen as neglecting the diverse expressions of femininity within the Black community. Language and presentation. The way she presents her content, including her language and aesthetics, might be perceived as catering to a broader, more mainstream audience, rather than focusing on the unique cultural aspects of the Black community. Criticism of community issues. Her discussions on accountability and generational trauma sometimes focus on individual responsibility, which some critics argue overlooks systemic issues that disproportionately affect the Black community. This perspective can be seen as aligning with more conservative, mainstream viewpoints. Beauty standards. The beauty tips and standards she promotes, such as certain makeup styles or fashion choices, might be seen as adhering to Western beauty norms, which can be perceived as a form of cultural assimilation. Support and counterarguments. Despite these criticisms, many of her followers appreciate her focus on self-love, personal growth, and the positive aspects of femininity. They argue that her content empowers women to embrace their femininity and improve their lives, regardless of cultural background. The term respectability politics is often used in discussions about creators like It I Am Just a Girl Too and It Danad 1987. This concept refers to the idea that members of marginalized communities should conform to the dominant culture's standards of behavior and appearance to gain acceptance and respect. Respectability politics explained. Respectability politics involves the belief that marginalized groups can achieve social mobility and acceptance by adopting behaviors and attitudes deemed respectable by the dominant culture. This often includes adhering to mainstream norms, encouraging individuals to dress, speak, and behave in ways that align with the dominant culture's expectations. Avoiding controversial behaviors, discouraging actions or expressions that might be seen as rebellious or nonconformist. Promoting individual responsibility, emphasizing personal accountability and self-improvement as pathways to success, sometimes at the expense of addressing systemic issues. Application to It I Am Just a Girl Too and It Danad 1987. Content focus. Both It I Am Just a Girl Too and It Danad 1987 often emphasize traditional values, personal responsibility, and self-improvement. This can be seen as aligning with respectability politics because it encourages individuals to conform to certain standards to gain respect and success. Criticism. Critics argue that this approach can overlook systemic issues and place undue pressure on individuals to change themselves rather than challenging the broader societal structures that contribute to inequality. For example, focusing on personal accountability without addressing systemic racism or economic disparities can be seen as a form of respectability politics. Support. Supporters of these creators appreciate their focus on empowerment and self-improvement. They argue that promoting personal responsibility and traditional values can help individuals navigate societal challenges and achieve personal success. Broader implications. The debate around respectability politics is complex. On one hand, it can provide a pathway for individuals to gain acceptance and improve their lives. On the other hand, it can perpetuate the idea that marginalized groups must conform to the dominant culture's standards to be valued, which can be limiting and unfair. The impact of internalized racism on Black women's self-perception and cultural identity. Internalized racism is a pervasive issue that significantly impacts the self-perception and cultural identity of Black women. This phenomenon involves the internalization of negative stereotypes and societal prejudices, leading individuals to subconsciously accept and perpetuate these harmful beliefs about themselves and their community. For Black women, internalized racism can manifest in various ways, including the association of immorality and hood culture with authentic Blackness, while viewing respectability and success as signs of being whitewashed. This dichotomy profoundly affects how they perceive themselves and others, including influencers like at I Am Just a Girl Too. The roots of internalized racism. Internalized racism stems from a long history of systemic oppression and discrimination. Historically, Black people have been subjected to dehumanizing stereotypes that portray them as inferior, immoral, and uncivilized. These stereotypes have been perpetuated through media, education, and societal norms, leading to a deep-seated belief in the inherent inferiority of Blackness. For Black women, this internalization is compounded by gendered racism, which imposes additional layers of discrimination based on both race and gender. The dichotomy of Blackness and respectability. One of the most damaging aspects of internalized racism is the false dichotomy it creates between authentic Blackness and respectability. Within this framework, behaviors and lifestyles associated with hood culture, such as speaking in African American vernacular English (AV), embracing hip-hop culture, or living in economically disadvantaged neighborhoods, are seen as inherently Black. Conversely, behaviors associated with mainstream success and respectability, such as academic achievement, professional success, and adherence to middle-class norms, are often viewed as signs of being whitewashed. This dichotomy forces Black women into a narrow and limiting definition of their identity. Those who strive for success and respectability may feel pressure to downplay their Blackness to fit into predominantly white spaces. On the other hand, those who embrace aspects of hood culture may feel compelled to reject mainstream success to maintain their cultural authenticity. This internal conflict can lead to feelings of inadequacy, self-doubt, and a fractured sense of identity. The influence of social media and influencers. Social media platforms like TikTok have become powerful spaces for cultural expression and identity formation. Influencers like at I Am Just a Girl Too play a crucial role in shaping how Black women perceive themselves and their cultural identity. At I Am Just a Girl Too, known for her content on femininity, beauty, and self-love, challenges the narrow definitions of Blackness by promoting a multifaceted and empowering view of Black womanhood. However, the impact of internalized racism can still be seen in how some viewers respond to her content. For instance, when at I Am Just a Girl Too emphasizes self-improvement, professional success, or traditional femininity, she may be accused of being whitewashed or not Black enough. These criticisms reflect the internalized belief that certain behaviors and achievements are incompatible with Blackness, like marriage. Moving forward, embracing a multifaceted identity. To combat the effects of internalized racism, it is essential for Black women to embrace a multifaceted and inclusive view of their identity. This involves rejecting the false dichotomy between Blackness and respectability and recognizing that Black women can be both respectable and authentically Black. The dynamics of internalized colorism among dark-skinned women. This may get some flack, but this is my honest observation. I feel that a lot of dark-skinned women suffer from internalized colorism. I see many of them projecting their insecurities onto other dark-skinned women who are secure in their beauty. While these women also hate light-skinned women, they use them to triangulate other dark-skinned women and bully them. I see light-skinned women saying the same thing as I am a just girl and not receiving as much scrutiny. Darker-skinned influencers like at I Am Just a Girl Too often face additional hurdles in gaining the same level of respect and trust as their lighter-skinned counterparts. Studies have shown that darker-skinned individuals frequently encounter skepticism and bias, which can undermine their perceived credibility. Understanding internalized colorism. Internalized colorism occurs when individuals absorb and adopt the prejudices and biases of the dominant culture, leading them to devalue their own skin tone and that of others within their community. For dark-skinned women, this can result in a range of harmful behaviors and attitudes, including self-criticism, social exclusion, and bullying of other dark-skinned women. Manifestations of internalized colorism. Internalized colorism among dark-skinned women can manifest in various ways. Self-perception. Dark-skinned women may internalize negative stereotypes about their skin tone, leading to lower self-esteem and self-worth. They might perceive themselves as less attractive or less capable compared to lighter-skinned individuals. Bullying and criticism. Dark-skinned women may bully or criticize other dark-skinned women as a way to project their own insecurities and internalized biases. This behavior reinforces the harmful cycle of colorism within the community. For Black women, respectability has been a tool of empowerment and survival. Historically, Black women have navigated a society that often devalues their existence, using respectability as a means to assert their dignity and worth. This approach, while sometimes seen as restrictive, has also been a form of resistance against pervasive stereotypes and systemic oppression. During the early 20th century, figures like Mary Church Terrell and Ida B. Wells championed the cause of respectability, advocating for education, civil rights, and social reform. These women understood that presenting themselves with dignity and poise was not just about personal pride but also about challenging the negative stereotypes imposed upon them by a racist society. Their efforts laid the groundwork for future generations to continue this legacy of excellence and empowerment. While respectability politics has its critics, it is essential to recognize its role in the broader struggle for Black liberation. At I Am Just a Girl 2's advocacy for respectability does not negate the need for systemic change but rather complements it. By encouraging Black women to embrace their identity and reject harmful stereotypes, she fosters a sense of pride and self-worth that is crucial for personal and collective empowerment. Black women have long been the pioneers of Bougie culture, utilizing respectability as a means of empowerment and resistance. By honoring this rich legacy and advocating for self-respect and cultural pride, At I Am Just a Girl 2 continues to motivate and uplift, reminding everyone of the strength and resilience found in Black womanhood. Internalized racism significantly influences how Black women view themselves and their cultural identity. By confronting harmful stereotypes and adopting a more inclusive and empowering perspective on Blackness, Black women can reclaim their identities and celebrate their individuality. Through this lens, we can recognize the complex nature of respectability and its significance in the ongoing pursuit of equality and justice. What do you think? Is bullying and internalized racism a problem in the Black community? Let me know in the comments section. Stay bougie.